In what may be a news story whose headline is not a surprise to literally anybody, the Green New Deal could cost $93 trillion over a decade, study finds, if guaranteed employment and universal health care make the final cut. Wow. I'm pretty sure we can't afford that, but I wonder who actually thought we could. Maybe the little kids who confronted Dianne Feinstein and generated viral buzz when she told them we have our own deal and everyone got angry, as if 12-year-olds holding signs have any idea what's going on with the U.S. fiscal budget for year 2020. No, kids have no idea what they're talking about. Why, in the name of all that is holy, do people on the left seem to think that children have any idea what the hell they're talking about? One thing that really annoys me about protests, just a sidetrack for a quick second, is when adults show up to protests with children holding signs and they go, oh, the kids want to do X or Y or Z. No, the kid doesn't want to do anything. It's the same thing as kids who believe in religion. You told them to believe it. You gave them a sign. They held it up. I assure you, the kid didn't design the sign themselves, the ideology behind it. They maybe just wrote something you told them to write. Let's read. The Green New Deal could cost taxpayers as much as $93 trillion over the next decade, assuming that provisions to tackle unemployment and healthcare make the cut. A conservative nonprofit led by former head of the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office found that the ambitious climate change plan's federal jobs guarantee alone would cost an estimated $6.8 trillion at best. The American Action Forum determined that a pledge to create 20 million jobs directly and indirectly through the overhaul could have a price tag as high as $44.6 trillion. However, we have a photo of Ocasio-Cortez doing a weird little hand thing there. And then we have some protesters here. Jobs for all. Okay, let me say a few things. I would love to give everyone a job. We can't just give them arbitrary jobs. I went to Venezuela several years ago, which is in the news today, and I was trying to buy a cell phone. Because they have a jobs guarantee to a certain extent, it took me several hours to buy a phone. Let me break down for you what it's like buying a phone in America. I walked into T-Mobile like a year ago, and they said, can I help you? And I said, I want to get the new Galaxy S9. And they went, yep, no problem. What color do you want? And I said, whatever. And they walked back out with the phone. They punched in some information, took about 5 or 10 minutes. I swiped my credit card and they were like, you're all good. It's hooked up. Do you want us to transfer the data? And I was like, no, I'm good. Thanks, man. And I left. Seriously, it was like 10 minutes. It wasn't a busy day. Let me tell you about buying a phone with a jobs guarantee country like Venezuela. We went first driving around Venezuela and we couldn't find any phones because a lot of the stores were closed. The mall was barren. And that's not necessarily anything to do with the jobs guarantee necessarily, but peripherally it does. So we went in, finally, we went to a store. They only had 2G, by the way, so I couldn't even do anything with the phone. It did have some data. And there was, I think, 7 steps to buying the phone. First, I had to go to one desk where I said, here's what I want. They filled out a form, had me sign it, and said, okay, you're now approved. You can go talk to our salesperson. Then I went to another person because they needed jobs. And I said, I'm looking for a phone that can do X. And he goes, okay, hold on. Let me show you a list of phones. Then I picked the phone I wanted, this one. He says, okay. And then he filled out a little slip, handed it to me. I signed it. And he goes, now go upstairs and talk to this person. I'm not exaggerating. This is exactly what happened. Then I went upstairs and talked to another person, says, this is the phone I'm looking for. And he says, no problem. Let me go back and get it for you. He goes back, finds the phone, comes back out and hands it to me. And I was like, okay, he handed me the box. And I'm like, okay, now, is it activated? I need a SIM card. He goes, SIM card. That's different. You got to go talk to this person. I kid you not. It took about 2 hours. And I had to talk to like 7 people because every single step required a form. And look, one person in a phone store was able to just get it to me. But in Venezuela, in order to guarantee jobs, they made jobs up and they needlessly made things complicated. Didn't really work out too well. There's a lot of problems with Venezuela. Let's read on. This we have what looks like the total costs here. Universal health care alone would carry a $36 trillion price tag, the researcher said, although their study admits that it's impossible to come up with a true estimate based on the published Green New Deal framework. I literally just read that. Wow, they have it back to back. Even without a Medicare for all provision or a federal jobs guarantee, the study finds that a low carbon electricity grid would cost roughly $5.4 trillion and a net zero emissions transportation system would range from 1.3 to 2.7 trillion in taxpayer costs. Add on guaranteed green housing, at an estimated $1.6 trillion and $4.2 trillion. And the Green New Deal would still tack on about 12.3 to the federal budget between 2020 and 2029, the researchers said. A food security promise would cost a mere $1.5 billion or $10 per household, making it the only promise of the progressive plan that wouldn't cost taxpayers thousands annually. I actually want to talk about something. If they're claiming it's possible to guarantee food to everybody for $1.5 billion, I'm going to have to agree with that and say maybe we can do that. Well, I still want to point a few things out. A lot of these guarantees are extremely expensive. There is something to be said for a dramatic overhaul of our energy system, improving it, spending taxpayer money. There's a lot of people who would side against it on a right-wing side, a more free market side. And here's my main criticism. My main criticism is, first of all, we literally don't have the economy size to fund something like this. We can start working towards it. It's not going to be 12 years, but that's fine because the world's not going to end in 12 years anyway. That's insane. If the world is going to end 12 years from now, what these people don't seem to understand is that even if we started today, we can't solve all of these problems in 1 year. Listen, I just talk about basic math for a second. From today, the world will end in 12 years. Okay. If we implement the Green New Deal right now and start working today, we may delay the inevitable by their standards by a few years, but we will not be able to implement enough changes to offset the coming collapse by their logic. It doesn't make sense. So if what they're saying is true, the only thing we can really do is sit back and say, well, we're doomed. I'm serious. First of all, I've done the research. Not extensively. I'm not an expert, but we've actually done a video about it over on Subverse. No, the world is not going to end in 12 years. These people might as well be standing on a street corner with a sandwich board and a sign that says the end is nigh. I'm sorry, it's not. And more importantly, the earth and the world will be fine. It's just industry and it's, sea level size, like sea level height and things like that. The world is not going to end. There will not be a mass die-off. Short of a meteor crashing, like even the great extinction events of the dinosaur age didn't kill all life on the planet. Okay, so they can chill. Now, I will say this: I actually agree with a large overhaul New Deal type system. I do. I made a video about it a while ago. Before they announced the Green New Deal. I said, you know what? I like this idea. I do. I understand that mass government overhaul, it's not something I typically agree with. This is way more money than we can actually pay. We can actually spend. So that might make it impossible. But I do like the idea of allocating our tax funds towards investment into new energies for a variety of reasons, which I've talked about in the past. The problem I have with Cortez and her psychotic bill is the weird religious stuff in it. Listen. If Republicans and conservatives put forward a bill that said, you know what, we're going to do universal health care, the left would be like, wow, awesome. And then what happens if they put in the bill banning abortion and everyone should go to church? Or we're going to allocate some of that money towards church. People are going to say, whoa, wait, hold on. We're for universal health care, but why are you putting a second page in your bill that wants to advocate for some kind of religion? That's how I feel about Cortez. The first page of the resolution is like, whereas X, Y, and Z, A, B, and C, our environment is in trouble. We should make these changes. I go, okay, I'll read on. And the next page says racial equality, racial equity. It says we want to guarantee healthcare and education. And I'm like, whoa, okay, hold on. How did we get from talking about saving the trees to talking about giving someone free college or taxpayer-funded college? I shouldn't call it free college. I don't know. And that's not the religious part. The religious part is the weird racial and gender equity stuff they want to implement. That's dogmatic ideology that I don't agree with. I agree with social justice. I agree with fairness. I don't agree with these weird racialists who think we should all segregate each other by race. So I don't want to sign off on your psychotic bill. So, and more importantly, I don't think we're going to dump $9 trillion a year towards your, that's like double the annual fiscal budget, excluding the fact that we actually pay for other things too. They say, few have been able to say how they'd pay for it, aside from rolling back the GOP tax cut on corporations, which is insane. Let me explain something very simple for you. It is not difficult to form a corporation in a foreign country. That's it. So why are so many companies located in like the Bahamas or Ireland? Because they have a lower tax rate and you can snap your fingers and have a company overseas. This is why Trump was implementing certain tariffs and why he wants to end these free trade agreements to stop these companies from leaving the U.S. You want to sell to the U.S., you'd be based in the U.S. It is actually true that a YouTuber could do the paperwork to form a company in a different country with a partner or whatever the company requires, and then pay substantially less in taxes to a different government, and then the U.S. gets nothing. Look, I'm not opposed to taxation, but I also recognize you can't just push policy without paying attention to technology. And at the current rate, communications technology and transportation technology has come to a certain point where just telling people we're going to tax you more won't make sense. This is why Andrew Cuomo of New York said, God forbid if the rich leave, and said he wouldn't tax the rich. You're not going to get what you need. You will just screw yourself. Okay. Lastly, the Green New Deal, fine. Okay, I'll wrap it up. I like the idea of investing in new technology. I don't like their stupid religion, and I don't like the idea of just not understanding where money comes from and thinking you can deficit spend. You can't. Your deal makes no sense. And I'm not surprised to see 12-year-olds showing up to Dianne Feinstein's office saying they believe in it. Yes, when I was 12, I believed in stupid things too. I'm done being angry. I'm going to make another video. I'll see you in a minute.